He sold dreams of wealth in post-Soviet Russia and left with everything. This is the story of a digital phantom, a man who promised a new kind of freedom and delivered only financial ruin. It's a tale of high-tech deception and old-fashioned greed, where the promise of the blockchain was twisted into a weapon of mass financial destruction. At the center of it all is a shadowy figure, Igor Musatov, the alleged mastermind behind Finiko, one of the largest and most audacious crypto Ponzi schemes in modern European history. The early 2010s in Russia were a time of cautious optimism mixed with deep-seated economic anxiety. The wounds of the Soviet collapse were still fresh for many, and the promises of a new capitalist era had not materialized for the average citizen. Into this landscape of hope and desperation stepped a new generation of entrepreneurs, fluent in the language of the internet and the burgeoning world of cryptocurrency. They spoke of decentralization, of breaking free from the old systems of banks and governments, and of a future where anyone with a little bit of savvy and a small investment could achieve unimaginable wealth. Finiko emerged from this digital ether around 2019, seemingly out of nowhere. Its public face was Kirill Doronin, a charismatic and persuasive speaker who presented himself as a visionary leader. He hosted lavish seminars in cities across Russia and neighboring countries, painting a picture of a revolutionary automated trading system. The pitch was intoxicatingly simple. Deposit your money in fiat, or preferably Bitcoin, and Finiko's sophisticated algorithms would generate returns of up to 30% per month. It was a golden ticket, a chance to leapfrog a lifetime of stagnant wages and economic uncertainty. The company even had its own internal currency, the Cifron or CFR, and a slick, user-friendly platform that displayed investors' supposed earnings growing in real time. It looked legitimate. It felt revolutionary. Behind the polished presentations and the charismatic frontmen, however, a more complex and shadowy operation was at play. While Doronin was the face, investigators and victims now point to Igor Musatov as the potential technical and financial architect of the scheme. Musatov was a different breed, less a public showman and more a ghost in the machine. His name was not on the company's official documents, and his presence was felt more than it was seen. He was known in certain circles as a brilliant, if enigmatic, figure with a deep understanding of blockchain technology and international finance. He was the alleged shadow banker, the one who knew how to move vast sums of digital currency across borders, leaving few traces behind. For a while, the system worked exactly as promised, at least on the surface. Early investors received their monthly payouts, creating a powerful word-of-mouth marketing machine. People mortgaged their homes, took out high-interest loans, and poured their life savings into the platform. Testimonials flooded social media, stories of newfound financial freedom, of luxury cars purchased, of debts paid off. The scheme grew exponentially, spreading like a virus through social networks and community groups. From the bustling streets of Moscow to the quiet towns of Siberia, Finiko became a household name. It is estimated that over 850,000 people were drawn into its web, with the total amount invested soaring past an astonishing $1 billion. The dream, it seemed, was real. But the dream was built on a lie. Like all Ponzi schemes, Finiko's business model was not based on any real trading or investment. The massive returns paid out to early investors were simply funded by the ever-increasing flow of money from new recruits. It was a house of cards, beautiful and intricate, but destined to collapse under its own weight. The first cracks appeared in the summer of 2021. Payouts became delayed. The company's internal currency, the CFR, which had been pegged to the US dollar, suddenly plummeted in value. The slick user interface, which once showed burgeoning profits, began to glitch. Panic set in. Then in July 2021, the entire system went dark. The website became inaccessible. The ability to withdraw funds was frozen. The charismatic Kirill Doronin was arrested by Russian authorities, but the money, the billion-dollar treasure chest, was gone. The digital wallets that held the vast reserves of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies had been systematically emptied. And with the money, the key figures behind the scenes, including the elusive Igor Musatov and several of his alleged accomplices, vanished without a trace. What followed was the beginning of a sprawling cross-border manhunt, one that stretched from the corridors of power in Moscow to the sun-drenched high-rises of the United Arab Emirates. As Russian and Belarusian authorities launched their official investigations, a different kind of pursuit began. The victims, a decentralized army of the defrauded, refused to be passive. Armed with the very technology that had been used to deceive them, they began their own investigation. They were coders, everyday investors, and amateur sleuths, united by their shared loss and a burning desire for justice. Using public blockchain explorers, they meticulously traced the flow of stolen funds. The blockchain, by its nature, is a public ledger. While wallets can be anonymous, the transactions between them are permanently recorded and visible to anyone. The victims became digital detectives, following the breadcrumb trail of transactions, as the massive crypto fortune was laundered through a complex web of wallets and exchanges. They watched in real time as their life savings were split, mixed, and moved across jurisdictions, a high-stakes game of digital cat and mouse. Their findings suggested a sophisticated operation, one that could only have been orchestrated by someone with an intimate knowledge of the crypto world's underbelly. The trail led them through Russia into Belarus, eventually pointed towards the UAE, a known haven for those seeking to escape international law enforcement. The case of Igor Musatov and Finiko is a chilling modern parable. It highlights a profound and dangerous paradox. The very technology designed to create a trustless system, one that doesn't rely on fallible human intermediaries, was exploited to execute one of the most classic scams in the book. The promise of transparency was used to mask a core of utter deception. The allure of decentralization became a tool for unaccountability. Finiko's masterminds didn't hack a system. They hacked human psychology. They preyed on hope, on the desire for a better life, and on the widespread confusion and excitement surrounding a new and complex technology. The hunt for Musatov continues. He remains a phantom, a symbol of how, in the digital age, a single individual can allegedly orchestrate financial devastation on a global scale and then disappear into the ones and zeros of the internet. For the hundreds of thousands of victims left in the wake of Finiko, the path to recovery is long and uncertain. Their story serves as a stark and painful reminder. In a world of complex algorithms and dazzling promises, the oldest and most important currency remains trust. And when that trust in technology is cynically exploited, the consequences can be more devastating than any market crash.